But I'm going to finish by showing you something that, unless you are interested in Japanese porcelain already, you might not know much about. I've managed to misspell it there. It's Nabeshima, it's got an E in the centre. And these were produced in Japan from about 1670, but they were produced entirely for the shogun and for the ruling family. And they were not exported at all. They were made for the family, they were given to people overseas, sometimes as gifts, and they were absolutely of the highest quality, and everything that wasn't of the highest quality was not allowed past. So in a sense, they're the Japanese Imperial Porcelain, and they are quite unique in their style. They are shaped usually in a quite different way, which I'll show you in a minute, but they use a lot more colour and a lot more coverage than some of the things we've seen before, but the quality of them is just fantastic. And here's the underneath. So what you see there is a very deep foot and a very prescribed way of decorating underneath. And you also see there are no stilt marks whatsoever, so obviously they found a way to avoid the stilt marks when the shogun didn't want the stilt marks. And here you see Japanese art almost transcending the period in which it was made and looking like something that was perhaps made in the last 50 years, because you've got slightly abstract designs still on Japanese themes, but things which you might expect to see on modern pieces which were made in the 1670s and 1680s. And although this one is quite clear, it's got the same pattern as one I showed you before, there were actually several prescribed patterns that were allowed underneath these dishes. They all had these deep foot rings, and there were various ways of painting the foot. And there's a very good book this is from, by Motosuke Imaizumu, and I think you can sometimes get it on eBay for about £15 or something. It's very, very economic picture book of Nabeshima wares. But these wares are just, some of them, quite amazing. And they did blue and white, as an example of the blue and white. And the best of these polychrome ones, there's another blue one, and it's a geometric pattern with fruit or gourds or something on it. And that one, just a composition of a tree and blossom. And these completely geometric. Again, you might expect those were made quite recently, and you might expect to find them in some trendy shop somewhere in London. But for these things to be done then, and for no one in the rest of the world to know they were being done, is fairly amazing. Now when they do escape and come into the Western market, they sometimes make £75,000, which again is the top price for a Japanese polychrome ware, I would think. This one has what might otherwise have been thought of as water, but being changed into clouds now. They must be low cloud because it's going right through the tree. And this one has a swirling river between plants on the bank. But they are, if you like that sort of thing, I think they're absolutely beautiful, and I think they're so unusual and they're so rare. I have what probably is a 19th century accurate reproduction of one, which I'll put on the table tonight. But these wares really show that Japanese art was different to almost anything else, and that makes quite a lot of Japanese porcelain different to everything else, which actually is why I love it so much. This you might have thought of as being made today. Again, it was made around 1670. And that's the end. Thank you very much for listening.